So you guys have returned to the castle after Curtis and Syra went on their little excursion, and that took roughly about a month of in-game time. As you are going back into the palace, the king appears to be in a frenzy over some news that has just come in via messenger ring. Are you guys going to approach him and see what's going on?
What Curtis does is, he wakes up, he's like, the fuck? He reads it, looks around, folds
Alright, so you read the little note that Syra gave you, you put it in your pocket. You already know what that reads, so I'm not going to relay that to anybody else because you read it. You guys walk up to the king, and he kind of looks at all of you. He's like, "Oh, thank God, are you all ready to go now? The dragon's been burning down settlements, the one after the other. The circle of mages fell almost 2 weeks ago. It leveled Fort Cleve. It went through the fire plains and burned a bunch of villages. Then it destroyed the town of Humbry. After that, it went to the Circle of Mages. They lasted for roughly 10 days before the dragon broke through their shielding with its laser breath and killed all of them. After that, it went to the town of Youngblood, burned that to the ground, burned the two twin cities, Livermore and Baldiger, to the ground. And then after that, it went through the Edgelands and leveled Fort Spike. Now it's on its way back up north. There are hundreds of thousands dead."
Hundreds of thousands dead, you say?
Well, I should say vaporized.
Gave me a hard-on for no reason. Alright, I suppose we can deal with this.
The sergeant has gone ahead to do scouting duties. You should meet up with him. He has a tracking gem.
Oh, alright. He's alright then, I suppose. How about we head on after him and find out what the hell's going on?
He has a tracking gem. You should be able to find him very easily. Arch, specifically, he hands you another gem that has a resonance to the one that Sergeant Lorax is carrying, so that you can immediately pinpoint his position. So I'm assuming that means, Arch, you're going to be doing your teleportation thing, or are you going to also be teleporting the Iron Bull with you?
I have no idea if I could teleport something that wide.
I'll allow you to do it, but I'm going to say that if you do it, I'll make you roll an intelligence check to actually cast the spell.
So I get a 15.
Alright, I'll say that's enough. So you guys travel outside and you get inside the Iron Bull as Syra grabs onto the magic core containment area in the front and uses her abilities to teleport you. You then appear in a tree line. You're just kind of like sitting there. The trees that were around you have been displaced somewhat by your presence, and the Iron Bull is just kind of hovering there. After a moment, you hear a knock on the back.
I'm gonna open it up. Yes, hello? Girl Scout cookies?
As you open the back door, Sergeant Lorak hops on the little gate that comes down on the back and walks up to you. "Hey there, kids. You ready for some war?"
Oh, good lord. You always frighten me with just how... Hi, hello, hi there. Yes, absolutely. Let's go and murder, I suppose.
I haven't been this excited since I was balls deep in elf guts.
Ew!
You say it's gross now, son, but with adrenaline going, anything goes. I've been tracking the dragon for the last 2 or 3 days. He's up ahead, he's still going forward, but he's been slowed down a little bit. He's trying to cross over a stream.
Why is he having difficulty crossing a stream?
Because apparently he has to stay low to the ground for that fog cloud to still stay around him.
Yeah, let's drown him.
I'm pretty sure the golden dragons can't drown, kid.
Only one way to find out.
Doesn't hurt to try.
Yep.
Sergeant Lorax takes out one of his revolvers and cocks the hammer back and says, "Let's go."
Let's go!
All you see is Curtis. He does a backflip and he goes invisible.
All right, so you go invisible. So you other guys are going to follow Sergeant Lorax as he leads you up forward, and you can see the dragon a little bit in the distance. It's trying to get across. I call it a stream, but it's more like a river. It's taking in some of the water as it goes over it, and it's kind of going over it a little, I guess maybe you would call it daintily, but it's going to be slow enough where you guys are going to be able to catch up with it. Now, Arch, you also have the Staff of Reality and the medallion with Mick's soul inside of it. However, Mick does explain to you that you are going to have to be able to see the dragon in order to hit it. You are not going to be able to see it through the cloud, so you're going to need to be able to see it in order to activate the spell. But once you can see it, and as long as you activate it fast enough, you will be able to hit the dragon.
There wouldn't happen to be anybody who could control weather of any kind.
If you want to roll a wisdom check to remember your first fight with the dragon, you might be able to come up with a strategy, and everybody can do that if they wish. All right, well, I mean, everybody's rolling pretty high, so... Every single one of you motherfuckers remembers that if you penetrate that fog cloud, you can see that dragon.
Well, yeah, let's just go fucking bum rush him then.
You do still have the rocket-powered sled that's mounted on the top of the Iron Bull, by the way.
Oh, we're gonna be traveling in style.
Curtis is gonna be like
Put some rims on this bitch.
Timmy 2 carves his way forward in the Iron Bull.
We're about to spin on some ops.
All right, so who wants to sit on the rocket? Syra might have to because she's the only one that can fire that thing.
I'll get on it.
I've got a griffin to ride. I'm not getting on a rocket.
I'll just get on the passenger seat.
After the last encounter, Ariel will stay back.
Timmy 2 is going to move forward. So, Kane, you're going to stay inside the Iron Bull and use your rifle. Rocca's going to stay on his griffin, and Cham and Arch are going to use the rocket sled. So here's what I'm going to do is Cham and Arch, both of you guys are going to need to roll a ride check. All right, so here's what I'm going to do with this. So as the rocket sled is launched towards the cloud, Cham, you're doing all right. Arch, you start to lose your balance. Cham, roll me a reflex check to make sure you can grab him before he falls off.
You're lucky, Arch. So as Syra's falling off, Curtis is going to grab Syra by the shirt, pull her in. I accept. And I ain't going to say anything.
You guys are going to fly towards. You guys got a high enough ride check where you're not going to have to aim all that much. So you guys fly through the cloud. The wind it hits you a little bit, but you're able to stay on. Now, Arch, you have a visual on the dragon now. Mick, do you have any words of wisdom?
You know, when it comes down to life, it's a lot of luck. Sometimes you just get your ass kicked. I did. Honestly, I still am. Why the fuck am I here? But go with Christ.
Arch, you're going to aim, and Kane, you're going to launch the death attack. I'm not going to have you roll for it because it's an insta-hit. When it happens, it's basically the equivalency of rolling the 37. So as you do that, you hit it, and the rocket flies through the cloud and out the other side. Now, as you are leaving the cloud, you see that it begins to slowly dissipate as an energy explosion erupts from the inside of it and causes the cloud to dissipate. The dragon's body then falls to the ground and digs into the dust. It's not moving at the moment.
Let's go kick it while it's down.
I'm just saying I call dibs on the corpse if we killed it outright.
Now you guys are riding on that rocket. So if you want to do a U-turn and go back, you can try and maneuver it with a ride check, or you can jump off.
Well, I was going to jump off, go invis, and land on it.
Okay, if you want to do that, you still have you're still within range to do that, even though you're right out of the cloud. So roll me a jump check. All right, you aced that. Cham, you jump back and you land directly on top of the dragon's head. Syra is still on the rocket sled, however. Is that a ride check? Oh, that is a ride check. All right, Arch, you're able to make a U-turn on that rocket sled, and you're flying back at the dragon. You can still use the staff, however, it's going to be 2 random effects.
Of course I'm going to use it. I don't think this is dead. I'm not stupid. It's a 66 and a 46.
The dragon grows insect mandibles around its mouth. The dragon also forgets how to talk.
Well, I suppose that's wonderful because he can't use spells, but...
You did that. I'm going to give you that for right now. Anybody else that wants to take a pot shot at this thing before it starts to move around again is welcome to.
I'm gonna shoot it.
Kane and Rocky, you guys are both going to shoot him?
Absolutely.
Okay, you guys can roll for that then. All right, that will hit. And Kane, you can also roll to hit.
Okay, that's not good though. I'll
Yeah,
tell you
no,
much.
that's an errant shot, even though he's on the ground. All right, so Rocky, you can roll for damage. All right, 14 damage. So you're just kind of taking like shots at it from the air. You fire with your shoulder cannon and you hit it a couple of times along the spine, but it doesn't do too much damage, but it does enough where you can tell that you're actually making a little bit of a dent. Now the dragon is starting to move around a little bit, and it's starting to move back up. Arch, you fly over it again, so if you want to go for another attack with the rocket sled, you're going to have to do a ride check to turn it around again. Okay, yeah, you do it again, so you're going to have another round to go. So I'm going to give everybody one more round of shots at this thing, and then we're going to start rolling initiative.
I'm gonna roll to shoot him again.
Fuck! You might have had a couple of drinks before this just to kind of, quell the nerves a little bit, but maybe you had like one too many, because you fire that one and it whizzes actually like right past Arch's sled as he's casting. It doesn't hit him, but it goes kind of close.
Sorry!
The magic number. Let's do it.
It is 72 and 29. Okay, so this may have solved one of your problems. The mouth of the dragon disappears, which means you now no longer have to deal with the breath attack. The next one has no effect because the dragon does not have any tattoos. So it cannot do the breath attack unless it wants to fire it through its face, which might be possible, but it's probably also going to hurt. Raka and Cham, you guys can also get hits in on it for right now if you want to. Cham, you're literally right on top of its head, so if you want to stab it, it's up to you, unless you want to stay hidden for a little bit.
I'll do a stabby stab.
So, Cham, you did 25 damage, and then 23 damage, and both of those are critted as well. So that's 96 damage you did to his head. And Raka took a pot shot but missed.
Flies right past Sarah again.
No, because he's shooting down this time, so it wings past Kane.
You fucking bitch!
Since this is before initiative, can I do another thing? It's not an attack.
Yes, if you want to do a minor action, I'll allow it.
I like to hook myself onto the dragon.
You can do that. He has like a horn that's near you, so if you want to tie like a rope or your grappler or something around that, you can.
Yeah.
You use your grappling hook, your wrist-mounted one, and you're able to tie it around the horn of the dragon. So if it starts bucking around, you have a way to kind of stay on it. So now that everybody's taken an additional pot shot, it is now time to roll initiative. Ooh, all right. Well, his initiative is a +5, so that's a 14. So Cham's way above that already.
Fuck, dude.
Oh,
Right
man.
where she
All right,
should
Raka.
be.
So it's going to go Cham, Raka, the dragon, Kane, and then Arch. All right, I have the order. So Cham, you can decide what you want to do. If you want to try stabbing it again in the head or not. It is getting up now, so the head is rising up above the tree line now. So you're probably about 70 to 80 feet up.
All right, I'm gonna be attacking it in the fucking head.
Like I said, since you're standing on top of it, I'm not going to make you roll the hit, just roll damage. So you did another 58 damage. You're just repeatedly just stabbing it in the head with that Darksaber as many times as you can. You're like Chief Brody at the end of Jaws, where he just keeps stabbing the front of the shark.
Yeah.
It's like that's basically what it is.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
His head is starting to bleed pretty profusely at this point. That's going to be your turn now that you've thoroughly done that. The dragon's starting to flail a bit because of the constant stabs
He's
to its
getting a
head.
headache.
Raka, it's now your turn.
Probably just attack it with my sword with like a charge attack. Straight up fucking lance this bitch right in his eyeball.
Come, brother.
It's going to be a ride check. That's enough. The ride check passes and the attack roll passes. So you are able to fly in and you stab him directly in the eye with your sword. Roll for damage. All right, and that's going to be critted because that's a targeted attack. So that's going to be 40 damage direct. And he cannot use that eye anymore. You have fucked his eye because that sword just immediately scorches the entirety of the wound. So it's just like you cauterized his eye, basically. So now it's the dragon's turn, and the dragon is kind of flailing about. He's kind of just looking for anything. He knows that there's something on the side of his head, basically, so his initial attack is going to be a claw attack, but it's going to be on himself. He's trying to claw you out of his eye. That is a 27.
Yeah, that hits.
So that's going to hit. That attack is going to do 2d10 damage. So I'm going to roll that, and then that's also going to knock you off of his face. So you're basically just going to pull your sword out, and your griffin is going to kind of fly off away from him as he kind of scratches you away from himself. Now, the next thing he's going to do is he's tired of his mouth being shut. And since he's technically not under his own control, he doesn't give a shit if he causes himself an immense amount of pain. And the nearest thing that he sees is the Iron Bull. He's going to use his laser breath on the Iron Bull. That is a 23. So here's what I'm going to do in this scenario. Kane, as this is happening, Timmy 2 realizes immediately what is about to go on and aims the cannon on the Iron Bull up at the dragon. He looks over to you and says,
I need you to flip every security switch in this thing to off right now.
Okie dokie. I do as he says.
dexterity check. You rolled a 12, so you flip a few of them, and then he kind of looks over at you. Faster! I'm going to let you do it one more time.
Yeah!
All right, so you flip the main, and as you do that, the energy from the magic core inside the Iron Bull flows out through the various piping and into the Gauss cannon that is attached to the top of it. It begins glowing green with a massive amounts of energy as Timmy 2 smashes a button in the cockpit. At the same time, the dragon fires its laser breath out of its mouth. The Iron Bull then fires a solid beam of green energy. Kane, I'm going to have you roll for damage for the Iron Bull, and I'm going to roll for damage for the dragon. Each one is going to be 10d10 worth of damage. So we're going to see who wins in the battle here. 61.
We out here.
48. All right, so you beat him by a mile. So here's what happens in this scenario. As the energy beams meet, they kind of explode and clash against each other in the middle of the sky, but the Iron Bull's green energy beam overwhelms the yellow lightning beam and shoots its way back into the dragon. Now, as this happens, there is a massive explosion into the dragon's face. So the dragon also did half of that damage to itself. I'm going to say 30 damage. And after that happens, the other beam of energy goes into it and shoots into its mouth and blows what's left of its jaw off and those insect mandibles that it grew. But that's also going to crit because it's going inside its mouth. So the 61 is going to double. So that's going to be 122 damage that it's going to do to the inside of this thing. And after that happens, the dragon kind of recoils a bit. Cham, I'm going to have you roll a grapple check to try and make sure you can hang on and stay on. All right, 24. I'll say that's enough. So the last one it's going to do is a tail attack, and it's going to try and aim that at Raka, who's sort of just flying through the air around it. Now, because he's flying around, I'm going to give the dragon a -2 to this, which means it's only going to get a +10 to the hit. 27. That's going to be 68. And then this time you're taking 23. All right, Arch, I'm going to say that now that you've ridden back and forth on the sled enough times that it finally sets down on the ground and you're able to get off. It has run out of fuel. So now it's going to go down to Arch.
Say, Mick, do you think it's worthwhile to continue to do this, or should I just try and attack the dragon in some way, shape, or form? I mean, it's been fun so far.
Well, sometimes you just gotta grab life by the balls. You ever thought about that, son?
Are you suggesting that I grab its testicles?
I mean, you can do whatever you want in the situation. What I'm implying is that you need to go for your goals. If you stay nowhere, you're not gonna get any place, but if you keep walking, at least you'll get somewhere. You feel me?
You're like a fortune cookie.
Mick, you are so profoundly interesting. Tell me, did you ever have a lobotomy performed on you while you were alive?
Probably. I was turned into a robot. I also had a mech.
That makes so much sense. All right. I think I'm gonna go ahead and just take another whack at it with the Staff of Reality here.
All right, roll twice for me. 82 and a 14. Okay. So you made the dragon resistant to acid, which it already was. At the same time, the second one does not affect the dragon because the dragon does not have hair. You know what? Fuck it. It turns pink.
Oh, that's unsightly. All right.
I'll let you fire it one more time. Let's see how stupid we can make this. You already turned the thing pink and made its jaw disappear. 33 and a 70. Because you turned the dragon pink, this also has an effect. It loses 2 points of charisma. That's what the 33 does. The 70 is the dragon now has the ability to smell gold. Now that that's taken place, Arch, that's your turn. Now we're going to go back up to Cham, who's still on top of it.
So what Curtis is going to do, he's going to hold on to the fucking rope that he's hooked on. He's going to start declining down to the other eye, and he's going to try and attack with the eye.
That's going to be a targeted attack, so you'll take a -2. You can still roll. 21, that will not hit. 22 will also not hit.
Oh, I should have just stayed up on the head.
You're just like swinging.
Yeah,
You're okay.
Right in front of his eye. Like, hey!
Now it's going to go to Raka.
Sweet chariot.
Yeah, you just see Cham just like swinging under the dragon's head.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and shoot my flame cannon at the other eye.
Okay, you're going to shoot your flame cannon. All right, so roll to hit. So Raka, that will hit, so you can roll for damage. That is also a targeted attack, so the damage will crit. All right, that's 24. That's going to crit to a 48. And you're able to singe the other eye shut, so he's now essentially blind. And he's not doing so well at this point. He's bleeding very profusely from his head. His jaw is missing. Both of his eyes have been cauterized to the point where he can't see out of them. And he has a frog swinging from one of his horns. Now it's going to go down to the dragon. So the dragon, again, is not very happy. So he's going to try and use some of his little tricks here to try and get things rolling. So first things first. He's going to use his lightning beam attack again, and this time he's aiming it at Arch. Because he can hear him talking to Mick. He's going to aim for you. He's going to take a -2 because he can't see. That's going to be a 23. So you're going to be able to dodge. So I want you to roll me a reflex save just to see how well you dodge out of the way.
Reflex is not my best.
It's just going to be how cool you do it. So basically what happens is he fires and you like knee-jerk reaction, just duck, and the energy beam goes right over your head and just disintegrates all of the forest behind you. And it singes your hair a tiny, tiny bit.
That was absolutely uncut. Somebody kill this asshole.
So the next one is going to be a telekinesis attack, which he is going to attempt to use on the Iron Bull to get that out of there. So basically, he has the ability to kind of magically throw something, and he has the ability to throw something of that weight. He needs to roll above a 22. He rolled above a 22 because his base attack is a 7. So, all right. So here's what's going to happen. So Kane, I need you to roll a grapple check for me because you're probably going to have to hang on for dear life. All right, that's going to be enough to hang on. So you find you find like a bar on the side to like hang on to as the Iron Bull is lifted up into the air and flung a ways away. Timmy 2 is still at the controls, vaguely attempting to pilot the ship as it flies through the air, even though he's really not doing anything. I'm going to roll how bad the ship gets thrown. So what happens is this. The Iron Bull flies through the air and comes down into a grouping of trees. The cannon is broken off. The tank lands upside down, dug into the ground. Timmy 2 is slumped over the steering wheel. Kane, you are still perfectly fine because you rolled a high enough grapple check to hang on to that bar, but everything else in the ship looks pretty wrecked. I'm going to roll another d20 for to see how good the magic core held up. All right, the magic core held up fairly well. It's not critical, but it will need repair. So right now the Iron Bull is basically out of the fight. He still gets one more attack, and that last attack he's going to use against Arch again. He's going to bring his tail down. And the tail gets a plus 12 to hit, but because he's, again, blind, he's going to take a -2. That is a 28.
Just barely touches.
That is going to be 21 damage to you, and you're also going to be knocked prone by that. Wham! Right in the ground.
Somebody get the name of that bad dragon.
Kane, do you have any words of wisdom for this after Arch gets smushed?
Don't worry, laddie.
You like that voice I did? You think I sound like a pirate?
Oh, that was fantastic, Mick, but I'm currently trying to count my ribs.
Damn. I don't have ribs anymore. I don't know what that's like.
Now it's going to go down. Kane, you're going to have a turn. So you were able to be okay inside the Iron Bull, so you're going to be able to get out and try and make an attack. Because your rifle has such long range, I will still allow you to be able to aim and hit from where you are.
What weak spots does he have?
There's his head at this point, which his jaw has been completely removed, so you could aim for that area. He also has 2 cauterized eyes now, which would be crit spots if you hit them.
Should have been one of the eyes.
All right, you're going to shoot him in one of the cauterized eyes. So that's going to be a targeted attack, so you'll take a -2 to the roll. It's going to hit. That's enough. He has his AC is 26. You rolled a 27, so you're going to be able to hit. What are you using?
I'm going to be using one of my Magnum rounds.
Okay, so this is going to crit twice. Because the Magnum rounds auto crit on hit. Actually, no, I stand corrected. That's going to crit 3 times. Because you're firing a Magnum round, which auto crits. You're doing a targeted attack, which means it will crit again. And you're also doing an attack on a very sensitive damaged area, which means that would also get a crit to it as well. So roll me damage, and then I'll calculate the travesty that you're about to commit. All right, so that's a 22. So this is the way this is going to work. So it's going to double for the first crit, so that's going to be 44. It's going to double again for the second crit to 88. And it's going to double again for the third crit, which means you're going to get 172 damage with one hit. You blew the eyeball out of its head completely. That's gone. He doesn't have an eye on that side of his head. So you shot the eye, it exploded and went out the top of his skull. So his eyeball just sort of flies through the air and then lands on the ground near where Arch is. He kind of is sitting up now, basically, not to his feet, but he's kind of recovering, and he just sees an eyeball that's the size of, like a Pinto just land next to him. Arch, it is now your turn again. And he's not doing so good at this point. That last shot from Kane really fucked him.
All right, I think instead of dicking with it, I am going to pull some of my nonsense.
What is your nonsense?
All right, I think I'm going to gesture towards our friend up there on the Griffin, and I'm going to cast Holy Aura for him. It's a +4 to his AC and +4 to resistances.
And you still have another thing to do if you wish, because that's just a buff action.
Going to cast Word of Chaos on him then. I'm going to quickly tell everybody to cover their ears. The reason being is anybody who is non-chaotic, who hears these words, will follow.
I'm fairly certain every single person here is chaotic good. Except for Raka as the paladin. Raka, what I'm gonna have happen is that you're gonna have to block your hearing somehow.
That's
I'm gonna
quite
ha-
simple. I don't listen to women.
This is entirely on you then, and I'm gonna go ahead and use the words of chaos. Anybody who didn't cover their ears is deafened for 1d4 rounds.
You've made him blind and deaf. Technically mute because you actually took away his voice too.
Blow off his fucking. Oh, that too, yeah.
That's taking effect right now. So now it's gonna go back up to Cham, and you're still kind of swinging from him.
There's also a hole through his eye.
That is true. There is one now.
What he's gonna do is he want to swing into the eye, through his eye.
I'm not gonna make you roll. So you jump into the hole that his eye once occupied. He's hurting in so many places right now that he's really not noticing that a whole lot. So are you going to try and go in deeper and like stab his brain or something?
Yeah, that's what I'm exactly gonna do.
So here's what I'm going to do is I'll have you, your first attack is going to be to cut away the flesh to get to the brain, and your second attack is going to be directly on it. That's 64 total damage. He is not doing very well at all right now. Basically with the first attack, you have worked your way through enough of his flesh where you reach the brain cavity, and you look inside and you see basically that the brain is encased in some kind of, either encased or is emitting some kind of a magical glow. It's kind of weird. It might be whatever is controlling the dragon, because it was resurrected using the blood spell from the princess's blood, so maybe this is just the magic affecting its brain, but its brain is relatively small. I will make you roll an attack check to try and stab it with the saber. That's going to be enough because you're inside of it and it's a stationary target, so it's not a 26, it's a 23, so that will hit. So that is going to, again, that's going to be a double crit. So Curtis ignites his Darksaber and leaps from the edge of the brain cavity towards the dragon's tiny, minuscule little brain. You stab the sword through the top of it and sever it in half. After that, the two sections kind of just flop down, still attached to the neural links or the neurons and everything like that connected to the body. And you quickly use the second blade on the Darksaber to sever those as well, basically cutting off its brain. Outside, everybody looks around as the dragon is still kind of moving about, and it just sort of abruptly stops where it is and immediately falls to the ground and just stops moving completely. The dragon is now down. The dragon is now dead. Now, Cham, as you're inside of it after you've killed it, you notice that the dragon starts disintegrating, very similar to the first dragon. And after a few moments, it is now turned into a pile of dust.
So I'm gonna be in it, but I'm gonna rise out of the ash like the phoenix has risen.